pull over and explode for like 10 minutes. And explode meaning I just cried like a baby. Because what a thing that just happened from my daughter's point of view, from my point of view, and then from William's point of view. And I sat there and that's when, and all the things that Avi, you and I have been able to talk about in the past 6 months or so, and the things we share with everyone, all of that started to really start to make sense to me, my journey, and what my, lack of a better term, my obligation is. And if William Wilson is going to stand up in front of them, and he does that every month or every other month. Now with the pandemic, I know there's a couple of virtual ones, and because of William and what he was doing in Ocala, I tried to bring that to Orange County. In the interim, it turns out I've missed a lot of my ones up there with my people. They're my people, and I want to speak with them. But as we get busy down here, I miss them a ton, and I miss them as people who I can relate to, and I miss them as I consider them friends because of the support they show for me and my daughter, who they never met. But then the support hopefully I showed them and their families. And William, he wants to talk about wrestling. He wants to talk about race cars. He doesn't want to dwell. And he said it. And I remember the first time he said he had to learn to forgive. And I don't know who's listening right now, and I know everybody's got something that's happened, or someone's made you mad, or someone's offended you, or someone has bullied you, or something's happened, and you will never forgive that person as long as you live. You listen to this man's story. No one's told him to forget.
No.
Just been asked to forgive. And like William said, if Don Garlits could do it, he could do it. If William can do it, then I can do it. And if I can do it, someone else. Forgiving doesn't forget, and it doesn't take but it's who you are as a person, and that's what he's teaching people. Now, I'm not even sure he knows that, because he's very humble. He's the guy. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure you understand that that's what you do to people. And if you've never been told before, I'm telling you now, you changed my life in this, what could be a very continually destructive pattern for me. You made me make sense of it. And I think that's what you do with the offenders and the kids who come to the teenage court, because it's part of school, is the best thing, because you're talking to them kids and those kids are going, yeah, man, I understand exactly what, and if he can, because at the end of it, no one ever wants to put someone in the position you were put in. No one.
No, but I do realize that we're all broken, okay? And we're all broken. And when I'm looking at people, I realize that. And situations are, I'm grateful for a lot, okay? But when I flip the situation over and I think of you and you've lost your daughter, or I think of other stories that I'm aware of, I'm here, okay? And that's a big deal. And I don't know emotionally that I'm tough enough to survive someone taking out my family. That's a whole nother ball game between, what I go through is physical. Okay. Mental pain is a whole nother ball game.
I want to bring this up, though. I'm sorry. I want to play devil's advocate over here. And I'm listening to this beautiful conversation, but I keep thinking to myself, if the shoe was on the other foot, and I haven't brought this up, but I'm going to bring it up now. We've had so many amazing guests like William show up here, and you're so courageous for telling your story and for inspiring people. But I get the nuts and bolts of where you are now as it pertains to forgiveness. I understand that at a certain point you break through those obstacles emotionally and you're able to forgive. But Bill and William, for those that don't understand what it's like to forgive, it's not an instant process, man. I don't know. There's a lot of people that say they would do this or they would do that. They may not know until they're put in that position. Hopefully they're never put in that position. But to get to the point where you ultimately forgive somebody who changed your life dramatically, a lot of people don't understand that, Bill and William. They don't.
And when I hate to say, like, when I speak to the youth groups and the church groups and stuff, it's an everyday forgiveness. It's an everyday you got to go through that, because this isn't you took my knee high and drank all my knee high. I get another knee high, and it takes more. I don't know how to explain it. There's no way to explain it, but it's an everyday. You have to be there every day, because it's a life sentence. It's every day. And you have to make sure that I want to be with my family when it's all said and done. And I know where they are going, and I'm going. And nobody can take that away from me. So it's a choice you have to make. And sometimes it's hard.
Because if you don't make an effort to stop hating or stop feeling angry at the person that caused all of this, a lot of times that pain and hatred is kind of like a vicious cycle. It doesn't really end, right? It's a loop. It becomes kind of like a loop. You wake up, lather, rinse, repeat. I hate this person. I hate what they did to me. And then you wake up another day, and it's the same feeling all over again. So it's like, to me, I want to ask William and Bill the same question, because you guys have been through loss on such a high scale. You may have certain days where you put it all in perspective. But what I'm amazed at when I listen to both of you and listen to your testimonials is you've gotten to the point where every day you've been able to let go of that hate and channel it to something more productive. On a consistent basis, doing that every day, that to me sounds like a task and like a real chore.
I'm not going to say that it is. I'm going to say because I've seen, when I was in the hospital, when I was going back to the hospital, after I'd gotten out of the hospital and I'd go back and I had a doctor's visit to check out something or another. And I would look over at somebody that was in worse shape than I was. And I could always find somebody and be grateful for something that I had and feel for what they didn't have. And I always took that to heart and realized that no matter how bad my situation may be, my situation really ain't that bad. And I've got a couple of stories of people that I work with that dude, the stories would just flat out blow your mind. Okay, and so I am so grateful and have reason, and so every day I wake up with a certain amount of gratefulness.
I equate it to, like, a lot of people say that they'll watch Michael Jordan be inspired to play basketball because of the things that he did. When I listen to you, Bill and William, it inspires people that have been through these situations in their lives, I think, to not only find purpose in their life, but to help others find purpose. That was an element I wasn't really privy to before we started doing Face Value in July. Just listening to how, yes, we hear about a support system and how important a support system is, and I don't want to minimize that. But to be able to be impacted by one person to the point where now that becomes your life, your mission statement. Mindy, I want to read your comment in 1 second. Mindy had the greatest testimonial too as well when she came on here. And we've had so many, William and Mindy and everyone that's joined us. It almost seems like they were affected by not just something that occurred to them, not only a loss they had to deal with, but it took them one speech or one meeting or one group to attend to ultimately realize that they can make a difference. Right, Bill?
If you, and this is just my own personal feeling on it, if you attend a victims impact panel, or if you attend a seminar, or if you attend a safety program, and you haven't been affected, you get an education. You try to raise a little bit of awareness, and most of the time, because it didn't really happen, and it's just a kind of, hey, here's some information, you get to forget about it and move on. And then you meet Mindy and Matt's mom and William and Miss Karen up there and Mr. Bill and the troopers and the people and the families, and you realize that as hard as it is to speak or to meet someone and share, or at least be a shoulder, if we don't do that, and again, it's just my personal opinion, then the man who took my daughter's life wins, because his decision was about him. But my daughter's decisions were different, and she didn't get a chance to make them. And now we have to make the right decisions. And then we, as in William and myself and Mindy and Connie and everyone else who's been affected by some kind of, Avi, you too, who's been affected by loss. You have to make a decision. They win. And it goes back to that old saying, okay, just move on. Or you dig down every day and try to get out of bed. And it brings us here to this show, and it's called Moving Forward. But I don't believe any of us could ever move forward until that word forgive and that action and that exercise daily takes place. And that's just a long-winded version of why I speak, because if I don't, that man wins.
That's right.
That's a great way of putting it. If you don't, then William Wilson, then in essence, the person who caused this gets the last word, right? If you don't speak up.
That's it. That's it. And it's the speaking up part. What got me into this or started was I went to a candlelight vigil for Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. And I'm at this vigil. I'm in a wheelchair. I had to be pushed up there. I believe my jaw was still wired together. But I'm looking around, and we got tennis shoes lined up. I believe there was like close to 90 pair of tennis shoes lined up around the square. And I said, what's with the tennis shoes? Why are there tennis shoes everywhere? And they said, well, those are for all the people that get killed this year by drunk drivers in the county. And I'm looking at all these shoes. It's like, man. And then my next question was, well, where are the people like me? Where are the ones that didn't get killed? And they pointed over at one girl. They said, it's just you and her. And I said, well, just us. Just you and her. And I decided that, I have the opportunity. I have the chance. Right. This is how to make a difference, because those tennis shoes can't speak for themselves. Every one of them's a story, man. Everyone's a story that nobody wants to hear or live. But I'm alive, and if I got a chance to make a difference, then my God, I need to make a difference.
Now, I love what you said. Everything's a story that nobody wants to hear because it makes them feel uncomfortable. And I want all of our viewers to know this. No, we don't get 2.4 million people watching this at once, but I got to tell you, for the 200,000 people plus that are watching these shows live, understand that if it makes you feel uncomfortable, good. That's a good thing. I've learned that. I've been able to process that. That speaks to me. I didn't quite understand what that means. You can understand if you have a high IQ what a term means without understanding how it can affect you. So don't look for the meaning of what William Wilson just said. Let it affect you. And Bill and William, it affects me. Because I kind of force myself into a situation where I have to look at a story that isn't my own. I have to look at a story that I know could occur to anyone across the board. It could occur to JC Farina. It could occur to Mindy. It could occur to every single person that's watching this show right now. And I think that's, to me, man, that would be the one goal I would focus on if someone were to ask me what the objective is for Face Value.